feeling like I'm Akademiks. Can't ride no wave.
What do we want to watch? Okay, so let's get into this Foolio trial. And this is a case of, by the way, this was the opening statements, and they caught one of these guys laughing.
Of Davion Murphy and any gangs in the Jacksonville area.
Look.
See some confusion as to which Murphy. So please keep that in your mind. So what are the facts of this case that the state outlined for 3 hours? And that is, we'll agree that on June 23rd, 2024, Charles Jones, known...
Yo, this guy is crazy. This guy's cracking jokes and opening statements. The jury's in the room. I don't know what... It looked like, he's writing a note or he's reading a note. I think he might forget that he needs to have some etiquette or courtroom etiquette. It's the reason why you're wearing the suit. It's the reason why you got... you got your look together to be presentable and to look like someone that's not capable of doing the crime. Why, during opening statements, would you now start to, crack jokes? It's the same type of demeanor we seen with the girl. She was playing with her hair. She started laughing at a few things. She was chuckling. I think these are bad body languages by someone who's facing the rest of their life in prison. But I'm going to be honest with you. These guys, they kind of come across to me as, it's all going to come out in sentencing if they get found guilty. Like, no judge is going to, it automatically carries life anyway, but no judge is going to have any type of leniency on these guys when you're kind of like laughing and, you're like mocking the process a bit, or at least not understand the seriousness of the moment, right? You're facing life. This is opening statements. At least look concerned, look engaged, If you can't control your facial movements or your laughter, bro, just keep your head down. You get what I'm saying? Right? Just don't do what this guy's doing.
Known as Foolio, was in fact shot and killed at the Home 2 Suites in Tampa, Hillsborough County, Florida. As a result of that homicide, 5 people were originally charged. Isaiah Chant, Sean Gathright, Rashad Murphy, Alicia Andrews, and Davion Murphy. That's why we're here, okay? And what was the motive for that homicide? The state alleges that it was a gang war, and it may well have been a gang war. They went through a number of individuals over the years, all the way back to, I believe, to 2018, and I'm not going to go through them all, but I believe they talked about Spaz and Bibby and Jake Jidd and Lou Hobie and Tilly and Mr. Jones himself, who was
give me 1 second. I'm grabbing my dogs. It's going to take like 2 minutes.
Shot, that this was the background of the gang war that was going on. So that it's absolutely clear, Mr. Davion Murphy is in no way a suspect, a defendant, or anything to do with any of those homicides and the attempted homicide on Mr. Charles Jones, okay? It has nothing to do with Davion Murphy. It has to do with the alleged gang wars between some gangs. So just make sure that that's clear. Also, the state, in its opening, went into the drill rap videos. Again, they're alleging that this is part of the motive for the death of Charles Jones, that these drill rap videos were dishing or being disrespectful to each other, and that's what caused part of the wars that apparently allegedly go back to 2018. We're talking about Spin Events and Youngson Ace, and these are some of the drill rap performers, and some of which, but again, so that we're clear, this is part of the motive, and nowhere in any of those videos, those drill videos, is Davion Murphy mentioned, a participant, name brought up, or anything. It has nothing to do with Davion Murphy, okay? And I believe we're going to find out from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office detectives, who are part of their gang enforcement unit. There's 2 or 3 of them. Each are just assigned to different particular gangs. I anticipate we're going to find out that none of them had heard of or knew anything about Davion Murphy prior to the homicide of Charles Jones. All right. We'll have to listen to the detective's testimony, and I submit to you they had no knowledge of any involvement of Davion Murphy in any gangs in the Jacksonville area up until the time of the death of Charles Jones. So what is the state's evidence?
Okay, forget all this.
Black and powder.
This is the opening statement from his lawyer. What is actually relevant is some of the evidence that, bro, I'm going to be honest with you, these niggas are cooked. Here we go. So apparently...
Opening statement on behalf of your client.
Days before.
So apparently the way how this trial is going to go, and this happens a lot when you have a conspiracy or a murder case with multiple defendants, there'll be like a kind of a cohesive defense theory, which is, hey, I ain't do nothing, and I don't know about nobody else doing nothing. However, I think there's so much evidence that's in this case. Most of these guys, their only way out is to basically say, I was there, but I didn't do shit. Or to downplay what they did and kind of blame it mostly on other people. So what we're seeing is that these guys are willing to turn on each other. Listen to this.
It wasn't a situation where they followed someone to where they thought they were going to be. No one knew they were going to be at this home 2 suites. We've seen a picture of Isaiah on the phone, not his phone, on
His girlfriend's phone.
Alicia Andrews' phone,
Yep.
talking to who they believe Sean Gathright. Look for the state to be able to prove what is the contents of that phone call. I submit they will not be able to prove what was said in that phone call. And definitely not be able to prove that phone call had anything to do with the
This
murder.
is a defense attorney.
They want you to assume it did. They want you to say it probably did. But that's not beyond a reasonable doubt. I would also submit that that's the only time that he's seen with Alicia's phone. And that will be stacked on the inference that he had knowledge.
Okay.
Doing something stacked on the inference that he had knowledge. And you can't stack inferences. You also were shown that
So this looks like it's a lawyer for Isaiah Chance, which is the boyfriend of Alicia Andrews. So they're gonna go say, hey, if he was on the phone and he's not coordinating, he's not giving the location or nothing like that. He's just talking. Like, you can't infer that he was doing all these things.
that Isaiah didn't get to the crime scene, allegedly, until we know for a fact till after the shooter's car was already there. They were there first and he was there. We also know, as Mr. Harmon pointed out, the shooter's car was watching Mr. Jones leave Truth 18.
Okay, so this is why it's an interesting defense strategy. So this guy is clearly Isaiah Chance's lawyers. He's basically, part of his case to defend Isaiah Chance is to affirm the state's story that the shooters are the other guys. So he's kind of helping the state by basically working off their theory that the other three shot and killed Foolio. He's just saying, yeah, he's like, to help prove that Isaiah is innocent, right? I'm just going to show that basically he had nothing to do with what they did. But remember, by utilizing the state's theory, you actually make it, remember, they're all co-defendants. They didn't get separate trials. They tried to, they didn't get it. It makes it that, oh, okay, so you are kind of defending this guy by claiming the other guy's guilty, which I'm pretty sure at some point they're gonna make they got to make a determination of how much of that could be done without Isaiah Chance taking a stand, right? Because you can't be, you're all co-defendants. You can't be testifying and kind of like pointing fingers at the other guys without the defendant taking a stand.
So they knew when he left. Mr. Harmon also showed that Isaiah was driving at Teasers. That's the only time he's seen driving that silver Cruise. Just like that's the only time he's seen on the phone, on Alicia's phone. Yet Mr. Harmon continued to say through his opening, Here's Isaiah texting from her phone. Here's Isaiah texting from her phone. Here's Isaiah sending this from their phone. There's no proof of that. I asked you to look for proof that Isaiah ever used her phone more than once. We have the one time on camera. They need to prove the other times. You cannot just assume every time her phone is used, Isaiah is the one using it. Without proof. I submit there will be none. Just like you cannot prove, you cannot assume that just because that silver Cruise is driving, that Isaiah is the one driving it.
Okay, so he's trying to say three things off rip that he's trying to help, the case that Isaiah Chance is innocent, right? He's saying, well, you can't prove who he was talking to on the phone. You can't prove that he was driving, and you can't prove that he gave nobody the drop. And these are three things that are his involvement that you guys are claiming. You can't prove either of them, right?
I submit you will not be able to, there will be no evidence showing that he's driving it at Truth 18, and no evidence that in that video at the crime scene, you'll have no evidence of who's driving the car. And you intend. And they will lean on social media. You saw the spaces. That requires a lot of speculation as to what exactly that meant weeks before in what Mr. Harmon referred to as an argument. I would take umbrage with that. The evidence and heard all the witnesses. I believe the only just verdict will be not guilty. Thank you.
All right, so that's Isaiah Chance's lawyer, okay? That was the lookout with the girlfriend. Now, these are the three shooters' lawyers coming up.
All these people who are allegedly involved, who have motives to want to kill each other, he doesn't fit into that anywhere. You don't see any evidence of him having any connection to any of these rap videos, or really any of these people that you heard about this morning, frankly.
So I could see where he's about to go with this. So the Davion Murphy and the other guy, the two Murphys, or I think it's the two Murphys, they're going to say, hey, these are older guys. They don't have a beef with Julio Foolio. Julio Foolio is a relatively young guy. The people he were beefing with are more likely Isaiah Chance, who is in the gang called ATK, and or affiliated with the gang ATK, and also Sean Gathright, who was a younger guy that was kind of around his age. Not us, not the older guys. The older guys got no problem with him. So they're basically just kind of like all pointing the finger at each other, right?
You won't see any connection between him and Charles Jones, or any reason he would want Mr. Jones to be harmed. You heard a long backstory this morning about these reasons why people wanted Charles Jones killed. But what I want you to remember is when the vast majority, if not all of those things took place, all these prior events, these prior shootings that allegedly precipitated the shooting of Charles Jones, he was a kid.
Oh, never mind. This is Sean Gathright. This is the 18 or 19-year-old. This is the youngest one.
I don't mean Mr. Gathright was 17. I mean, he was a child when most of that stuff took place. Where does he
Yeah, nigga was playing Call of Duty with phase sensor.
fit into this motive to want to kill Charles Jones?
If anyone should get the needle, I think it's him. I am very weary of these young motherfuckers who think they're above the law. Usually, I want the young ones to get a death penalty more than I want the old ones to get the death penalty. Because when a kid is like 16, 17, 18, they run around like nothing could stop them. They're the most ruthless because they don't think about life. And also they think if they get caught, some juvenile shit. Yeah, if anybody gets the needle, I want him to get it.
I expect you will hear some detectives from Jacksonville who knew a lot of these people, had been researching a lot of these people involved, and they were on their radar because they knew there was violence taking place between these different
Nigga said that's LaMelo Ball. Yo.
groups, these gangs in Jacksonville. And I expect every one of them that you may hear from this week, I'm going to ask them, have you ever heard of Sean Gathright? And every one of them is going to say no. I had no idea who Sean Gathright was until Tampa police contacted us. These are people who are investigating all of the players allegedly involved. They have no idea who Sean Gathright is. People who are with Charles Jones the night of the shooting. You heard about several of them, several people who unfortunately were shot themselves and survived. None of them know who Sean Gathright is. I expect that's what you're going to hear this week. Other people who were in Charles Jones' entourage that you may hear from, I expect none of them are going to know who Sean Gathright is. It's a piece that simply doesn't fit into the puzzle. Some things you will hear, I expect, over the course of these next couple of weeks. The weekend that Charles Jones was having the show here in Tampa, Mr. Guthright's sister was having a birthday party in Orlando. And you will hear that he was friends with Isaiah Chance. He had met Chance, I believe, through his older sister. They weren't particularly close, but they had developed a friendship for a short time prior to this happening. But he has really no connection between either of the other two defendants in the case, or I think you'll see really anyone else that you're going to hear about in the next couple of weeks. But in any event, yes, he does. He travels down here with plans to go later to his sister's party in Orlando and to see his grandmother along the way. And you're going to hear he's here
Okay. Boring. Let's get to another one of them. That guy goes
to you in his presentation.
Now, these guys are clearly representing the two brothers, which the two brothers are the older guys, but they're the guys, their last name is Rashad.
About what occurred at the hotel and where the entourage with Mr. Jones traveled from one place to another did, in fact, occur. That is not a point in dispute, what occurred. The question, as you listen and as you receive the evidence over the upcoming days into weeks, we'll see how that goes.
Okay, I'm going to try to skip a little bit.
Leads you to believe other things are dangerous. In order to find someone guilty of any crime based on circumstantial evidence, you must find.
Yo, this nigga got the face. Yo, this nigga got that look on his face like, just give me life. Just give me life, man. He going through the phases, man.
That the indirect evidence is proof of one or more facts, which you can
tell he doesn't want to go to sleep, bro.
Find another fact. Don't be led.
When this nigga falls asleep the first day in his own trial, you know this nigga, he already got his bunk reserved in prison, nigga.
To rely solely on inferences to support the necessary elements that are required by the law to sustain the state's burden of proof without carefully connecting the dots.
So this attorney keeps saying this is circumstantial evidence. Okay, technically I guess it's circumstantial evidence, but the nigga is caught on 4K video on a Tesla side cam running with a gun, and I guess yes, some type of facial covering, but I guess the circumstantial evidence is we see you there doing the shooting, and if we track your whereabouts and we also track your fucking cell phone, we know it's you, even if you got a shiesty on, dummy. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, I know they're saying circumstantial evidence, but it's like, this nigga's on camera.
Which unequivocally will become a period at the end of the sentence. Consider along the way the state's use of evidence and statements that say to you, they did this or they did that during the balance of the trial over these next 2 weeks. Remember again that every defendant, Rashad Murphy, Davion Murphy, Isaiah Chance, Sean Gathright, they're all charged with the most serious crimes that we have. And as you listen to the evidence, keep it.
Okay.
Remember, are not crimes.
All right.
Gratitude.
Then this is the last one. Okay, cool. So they kind of, you could see they don't really have a cohesive defense strategy. It's hard to do that. Obviously, Isaiah Chance, he's caught on camera walking without a shiesty. He's caught with another defendant who already went through trial, which is his girlfriend. He can't say he was not there. By the way, cell phones place all these guys there. Only one guy didn't use a cell phone or didn't use he didn't bring his cell phone with him, but then he used someone else's cell phone the entire time. Most of these guys are caught on camera at some point, and if their thing is, oh, I was never there, that's pretty cooked. So now it's like, you're there, but why are you there? So with this guy, LaMelo Ball over here, he's saying, I never had no beef with Foolio. And these other two right here, they're going to try to use the same strategy. Oh, we never had no beef with him like that. Even though there is some ties there with beef. But this guy was so young, like he's 19. So like a couple years ago, when in the midst of like all this ATK, KTA beef or whatever, essentially he was too young. He really wasn't involved. So they're saying he has no motive. These other guys, they're saying that, hey, there's no full proof, but they're kind of cooked. And Isaiah Chance, they're saying, hey, listen, there's no proof that he actually was complicit in this murder at all. Okay? That's what they want to say about him. So if I had to rank who has the best chance of, getting a good judgment here, it would be Isaiah Chance, right? Then it would be, I think these three are cooked. Like, they're the gunmen. They're caught on camera. Like, you know what I mean? I think Isaiah Chance finessed these fucking fools. They're like, nah, I'm going to just go with my girl and be the lookout. Right? At least you could be like, you could try to lie and be like, nah, I ain't know what was going on. Yo, they just told me to tell them where the next spot was. I never knew they were going to kill somebody. He's going to play dumb, right? Like his lawyer said, oh, how could he be the lookout person? He got to the spot after the killers got there in the car. That's not a lookout. Yeah, he gets to play dumb just like his girlfriend played dumb. The shooters, it's either you did or you didn't, brother, okay? Now, as we kind of go down this, I have to show you the, so there's a few things. They did bring up the detective, the guy who was present at the crime scene. But I want to show you during the opening statements, them showing, this is like the most ridiculous thing you'll ever see, chat. This is them showing, I actually know it was today. But it was at, hold on. Okay, yeah. Yep, here it is.
State ready
So.
to proceed.
Okay, yeah.
And,
so this is how it starts.
Defense ready to proceed.
Everybody's ready to go. So now they're going to show this. That's the prosecutors. And the prosecutors is going down this beef, this long history beef of these two rival gangs, and they're kind of showing how this plays a part. So they're laying motive out.
August of 23.
Okay. They do play music videos in this.
In addition to the drill rap, they would post photos on social media making fun of the opposing gangs' casualties. I'm going to walk you through a couple of videos that you will see in the state's evidence. This video is a combination 1200 ATK video. The major performer is an individual named Kenyatta Bullard, also known as Youngin Ace or Ace. Spinabins is one of the performers who is a well-known drill rap gang member in Jacksonville, and Wappa with the Choppa is another. You can see in this photograph in the background,
Love that name.
Young and Ace in the yellow. Kenyatta Bullard, aka Young and Ace. And you can see his ATK chain around his neck. In this video, you will see these performers at times during the video pointing up in the air, and you will see the names of people appearing on the screen. Those are casualties from 6 Block. Those are people who were murdered on the opposite side. And you will hear them talking about them in this drill rap. So we see here the title to the drill.
Okay. So they start playing it. I think they mute it because they don't want to get copywritten. With Law and Crimes does. They played in court.
So you heard the name, maybe Adrian Gaynor, one of the people that we discussed earlier in the gang war. That was just one of several that they were pointing out. Who I smoke, meaning who is killed or shot. So we saw Spinabins and Wappa with the Choppa. Spinabins Noah Williams came out with this song concerning this murder, this song being released within a couple of days of the murder of Charles Jones. It's called Foolio Dead. Now, that last video, the Who I Smoke video by Young and Ace, these videos are not just put onto YouTube. Young and Ace is a celebrity. He has tens of millions of followers on Spotify and YouTube. These songs attract a lot of attention. This song, as I said, was put out within a day or two of the death of Charles Jones here in Tampa. You're going to see references and hear references in this to not only Charles Jones' name, but to the name Six, Mr. Six, or Six, meaning 6 block.
Okay. They blur this out again. This is about another song. This is kind of like breaking down all this
Several
beat.
people that are opposing gang casualties. You will see a poster that he is holding and walking around that has 3 photographs on it. 3 young men that were all murdered in a shooting that involved Kenyatta Bullard, Young and Ace, who was the only survivor of that shooting.
Okay, so they're playing When I See You.
Several times and was affiliated to the wrong group.
So they're basically like breaking down all this type of stuff. They're breaking down the stalking. This is all the stalking here. This is the video from when they actually see the guys.
Mr. Jones, Dodge Charger, pulling into the portico.
And you're going to see the guys run from here. They start shooting.
And you can see up here, that's a few minutes off. It's actually around 4:34, 4:35 a.m. in the morning. Okay. So if you're looking, so what happens is while they were out that night, he had made a reservation, but because they arrived so late, it was given away.
Yeah, so their reservation, they didn't check in, and now
Once they exit and they go into the hotel to use the restroom.
Wait, who's that?
Miss Albritton, who was dressed.
Let's go back.
You're going to see an individual named Taifa or Taifa McCrae and Miss Albritton, who is dressed in an all-pink suit, who are friends of Mr. Jones. They exit and they go into the hotel to use the restroom, and they're actually inside the lobby when the shooting occurs. When Taifa got out of the front seat of the Altima, another young lady, Camilla Bentley, slid in behind him in the front seat. Now you're going to see another car come by. This is a small silver Chevy Cruze. This you will find in the evidence is the surveillance tracker vehicle that was utilized by these conspirators, by these defendants, to follow, to track and stalk Mr. Jones and his friends, giving real-time, by communications, by phone, real-time location data and information about where he would be. This car passes by, being driven by Defendant Isaiah Chance, his girlfriend. You saw her earlier. Miss Andrews is in the front passenger seat.
Oh, so they drive right by.
The assault team is already present on the west side of the hotel. That was the car that had pulled in earlier and went northbound and did not pass the portico. This is a mounted camera, by the way, folks, on the hotel. That's
Okay, let's get to
facing
the shooting. So that car, that's the lookout car, leaves.
the evidence will show that he goes down, he does a U-turn and comes back north on McKinley and passes the hotel just before the shooting begins.
Yeah, so they go down and then they drive back passing the area. This is Isaiah Chance.
There's the shooter.
Damn. Holy shit.
This is the hotel just before the shooting begins. There's the shooter.
Oh, they shot into this car too immediately. I remember we looked at this.
Xavier Edwards
Oh, this nigga hit the reverse quick. They crashed.
tries to escape from the shooting. You can see the other two cars, one being driven by Camilla Bentley, who's going forward, the other one being driven by Armani Turner, who's going backwards. In their haste to flee from the shooting, they actually collide with each other, and they both end up going southbound on McKinley. They go different directions. Now, this is what I was talking about, where by the palm trees you will see a head pop out right before the full appearance of the shooters. That is Rashad Murphy. You will see another shooter run over to that tree just to the center of the video screen, just to the right of that Lexus SUV. The evidence will show in this case that that is Defendant Gathright. On the top of the screen, you see a Mercedes SUV and a yellow car, and you see an individual moving around. The evidence will show that is the defendant, Davion Murphy, who was firing. And you can see in this evidence that Mr. Edwards attempts desperately to flee from these shooters, but what he actually does is he drives directly into a crossfire.
Yeah.
A vortex, if you will,
Yeah, this guy almost shoots this guy, I think.
of high-powered rifle fire. The car flees down the west side of the hotel, heading north. Now, just around the corner, wrapping around to the west side of the hotel, the attack team parks the car, they get out and move into position coming around to that corner. As they move through there, they pass a Tesla. This is a video from a Tesla. There are multiple screens and videos you will see from this Tesla, which was in Sentry mode, activated and recorded. Officers met with the owner the next morning, who showed them this video on the screen inside of the Tesla, and they were able to collect this video. In this instance, and you can see to the far right, you can see a charging station with cables hanging off of it. You will see in the grass area by the charging station, you will see Davion Murphy running by, holding a rifle, wearing all black with an orange ski mask. And he's heading up to that area by that yellow Bronco and the Mercedes SUV, where he later pops out. Now, in a minute, you're going to see Xavier Edwards accelerating that Dodge Charger around the corner. You'll see its headlights sweep across those, I believe, probably cypress trees right there. There comes the headlights. He is now fleeing up the west-northwest.
Okay, you guys have seen this before. I don't want to keep, okay, now they basically showcase the victims. These are the people who were, they were shot at, but they were not injured. God damn, what the fuck? Blood clot, dog.
Mr. Jones charged west side of that hotel on Murphy, unload with that rifle down
This nigga was moving like he was in a fucking movie, huh?
the west side of that hotel. Mr. Jones, Charger,
Nigga, this is a Charger? Oh, shit.
after being impounded and transported to the Tampa Police Department. Impound lot, all of those yellow marks, other than the ones on the hinges, are going to be impacts. So you see Miss Turner, Mr. Jones' girlfriend in the upper left. She was in the Hyundai. Miss Randolph, her friend, was in the Hyundai. And Robert Howard, who is a friend of Charles Jones, was in the Hyundai with those women, sitting directly behind the Dodge Charger. You see Tafa McCrae and Aaliyah Albritton, the woman who was in the pink outfit, who were in the Nissan Altima. Xavier Edwards was wounded. He was shot in his right arm. He had a grazing wound to his head. Shot in the shoulder. This is him at the hospital being treated. Sustained multiple gunshot wounds. And you can see lacerations from glass or projectiles to his left hand. He is one of the victims of one of the attempted murder counts charged against Davion and Rashad Murphy and against...
oh, yeah, the last name is Murphy, not Rashad. Yeah, Murphy. So it's Davion and Rashad Murphy, sorry.
Sean Gathra is a longtime friend of Charles Jones, going back several years into their youth. He was in the back seat of the Charger. He had come with Mr. Edwards, and Mr. Jones had traveled here from Jacksonville to celebrate the birthday. When they arrived here, it was on Friday night, and they stayed at an Airbnb in Pinellas County. The next day, they stayed at an Airbnb in Pasco County and Holiday. And I'm going to show you here shortly where Mr. Jones was posting on his Instagram account that he would be here in Tampa. He actually appeared at a couple of clubs and put up advertisements for those appearances. But he is going to be appearing at Teasers. You see that in the middle of the advert.
Okay, you guys know all this. This is them showing up.
Friends. That is the Impala, the black car.
This looks like a gun. Who is this, though?
Yeah. Talking about how they're going to load the heaviest bags into the trunk first. The BMW on the top part of the screen belongs to Mr. Chance. He would later go and retrieve his girlfriend, Miss Andrews, and bring her back to this residence. And that's in Jacksonville. Now, at some point that afternoon before they leave, Mr. Chance brings his contribution to the assault team. This is going to be in slow-mo, but you're going to see a Glock handgun with an extended magazine. You see his finger resting down the side of the slide. He tucks the gun into his waistband as he walks back into Mr. Gathwright's residence.
The youngest nigga was the richest nigga. Got 1 million cameras at the crib. And they decided to go to his crib to load up.
Notably, he knows the combination of Mr. Gathwright's residence. And you can see the extended magazine. 1.38 miles from the home to suites just on the north side of the USF campus, University of South Florida. Now,
Okay.
PM.
That's license plate stuff. McDonald's
Andrew's
stuff.
phone. So her phone becomes
That's the parking lot. They're getting the drop.
Mr. Jones and his friends leaving. You see the 3 cars with the taillights
This when they're leaving one of the clubs.
lighting up. The one on the left of the, so you can see.
They're showing how they got around. They went to the second club.
Now you're going to see them going up the stairs.
This is the video Foolio posted.
Down the park or down the sidewalk. They come back.
Yeah, they're showing everybody leaving. Showing the cars.
Hard. They'll head initially eastbound and then do a U-turn and go back westbound. U-turn. Then the just
This is the next day. It's after shooting.
going to be a combined conglomerate of videos from that ring video at video and Miss Andrews and Rashad Murphy back to Jacksonville. They travel back in an Uber to get back in. Or he is going down. This has been accelerated. He's wiping the car down.
Oh, this is a Chance. His hair was different.
Or he drives the 4Runner to Orlando and then back to Jacksonville.
No, this is not Chance. This is a Gathright, I think.
And he takes this picture of Don Julio and posts it. You'll also see some other images from that evening. He is there with other people and appears to be celebrating. This would be the night of the actual murder, and then it goes into the early morning hours of the 24th. You can see in that photograph, again, just going back to show Mr. Chance and his girlfriend going out with their bags to the Infinity, which is an Uber driver. This is the Uber. There's the receipt from Uber in the middle. It's $187, a 208-mile ride from Gazebo Pond back to Chipperfield Lane in Jacksonville to Mr. Gathwright's address. Gives the route. Uber driver will tell you he picked up 3 people and dropped them off at the address, which is Mr. Gathwright's house. This is them arriving, again, back at the place that it all started, at Mr. Gathwright's house. Now, that's Miss Andrews by Mr. Chance's BMW. And you see Rashad Murphy in the light-colored jeans, holding the bag in his left hand with a beret or some kind of a cap on, opening the back door, putting a bag in it. You can see the Uber.
Okay, they're walking on that. Now they're talking about what they found on searches.
What? Go back.
Now we're gonna get to the interrogation.
Runner.
That's what they found. So when they went in one of these guys' houses, they found shell catchers. I think this is Sean Gathright, which, by the way, his mom had to know he did the crime because most of the shit, they use most of the guns from his house.
Matched to back over his face, maybe a gaiter or some kind of a bandana. He's carrying a rifle, but you can still see a sliver of the top of his face, that it's light-skinned, and you can see his hands are light-skinned and that he has a very thin build. So we start here with Mr. Gathright. This is when he is at his house. Remember?
Yeah, he had longer hair. Yes, so they're just kind of matching everything up. And, okay, they got he starts sharing location. Nigga pick up the fucking phone. Nigga pick up. Okay, they pretty much got everything.
And that is has a pink case. He's walking around. You can see the clothing he is wearing, the positioning of.
Okay, so he goes around trying to figure out, like, buy clothing or buy something that he was going to use in a murder.
Belt and the type of picked up on a.
And he had a Glock switch that he used in a murder.
Murphy's head.
They booked the Airbnb. Yeah, they got everything here, man.
They were members of a predecessor gang that became.
They post stories afterwards, kind of celebrating.
He admits that Mr. Chance, along with his girlfriend,
He had a COVID mask on.
when the cruise is right there by Home to Suites, right before the murder.
Chance's cell phone was being seen. Actually, was this his cell phone? Okay, they're doing a whole bunch of nonsense. He argues with he argues on this is Spaces. Perfect. Yeah, these guys are good. Yo, the cops even got them arguing on Spaces, bro.
That shit crazy. All right, cool.
The upper right of those icons. And just so y'all understand what you're going to hear is that all of these people in this chat room can talk at the same time. You're going to hear a lot of overlapping. You're going to hear a lot of young ladies talking. But you will clearly hear Charles Jones talking, and you will clearly hear Gutta Man, you can see his name on there, Mr. Chance, talking. They are arguing, and you will clearly hear Mr. Chance say, "Hey, Foolio, your foot okay, cuz? Your foot okay?"
Oh, this was back in 2024 then.
Arguing with Mr. Jones on that X Spaces app. Gathright receives communication from Rashad Murphy. On the left.
Make sure, bruh, in a good headspace before he go with his move. We got bigger shit to tend to. They ain't worth a nigga energy right now. Make sure, bruh, okay, he liked that. And he says, I ain't heard from bro today, but I'm going to check with him. So they probably not going to pick up. He on IG letting these niggas get him out of character. He turned up on that motherfucker right now.
Left. Make sure that's going to be Rashad Murphy. Make sure bro in a good headspace before he go with his move. We got bigger shit to tend to. They ain't worth inward energy. Below that, you see the response from Mr. Gathright. He likes it first, and then he says, I ain't heard from bro, talking about Mr. Chance today, but I'm going to check in with him. On the right-hand side, Mr. Rashad Murphy then sends this message. This is going around a little after 3 a.m. All
right, this wasn't the only part. I'm trying to show you the so that happens, and I gotta show you when they interview. So they finally showed the interview portion where this nigga was in the interrogation room making all type of signs and symbols.
Actually happens throughout the hall. The blood that we see EMS utilizing.
Those have been used. I wouldn't be able to find. Yes, ma'am.
And did you or crying having these?
Okay. I'm trying to find it for y'all. Give me 1 second. Might just have to look at the actual live. That's probably what I got to do. It was day 2 tomorrow, but day 1 was today, and it's 8 hours. Okay, man. I'll find it. I'll find it. Okay. So what I'm trying to show you is just like, this is how cooked these guys are. So they go through everything. This was a really lengthy opening statement. He took like half the time. They took a break.
Up behind the other two.
Right? This is 4 hours in. They come back.
I was not aware of the specific plan it will be.
Okay. I'm missing a part then. I'm sorry.
That's fair, yes.
Okay. And you also, at that time or during that.
Give me 1 second. Sorry, Chad.
There was where set up. Would have been she's speaking formation and rifles.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Okay, I might be off on this. Anyway, it's posted to my Instagram. Maybe I can see who was on the stand.
We'll see tattoos. You see many on his neck and chest. He has a 1200 tattoo on the back of his neck. He has the name of people from 1200 who have been murdered tattooed on his body. And in this video, you will clearly see in the evidence.
Okay. Yes, so that's early.
So Is that any and all?
Okay, so they
Just take the volume down. Just
so it started out with a hour of instructions. I'm trying to find it. Sorry, I'm trying to find it in this.
Mr. Rashad Murphy damage. Day and the ultimate crash shot is full utilized. All
we are going to take a little bit of a later lunch.
Take a little later. Come on.
a list of phone numbers.
Oh, here we go.
Mr. Gathright had got rid of his phone and was obtaining a new phone, had made a handwritten list.
Okay, so they found that. Jesus Christ.
It is picked up on an LPR flock system that Gwinnett County contracted the Airbnb at Lagoon.
Okay.
But he didn't know that it was being booked from a completely opposite air.
Right.
So
Give me a second.
Of June 23rd, 2024, and we are going to drag that conspiracy out of that darkness and into the bright lights of this courtroom for you, all of you, and everyone to see its wicked and vile nature, to see the malice, and to see the premeditation.
Give me 1 second. I'm trying to find the actual part.
Charles Jones, there were no more birthdays. All that was left was a funeral.
Does anyone know the timestamp?
State's evidence will prove to each and every one of you, beyond any doubt, we had a lot of discussions about proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
All right, fuck it. I'll just use this. Anyway, this was the footage I was dying to see. I was like, yo, this got to be lies. This got to be cap. So at one point during this whole fiasco, they're saying they finally locked this guy up. I didn't think he was on the run for a little bit after they announced who the suspects were. They lock the guy up and they bring him to the interrogation room. And when they bring him to the interrogation room, you know, they take the cuffs off or whatever. They say, yo, we'll be back. And they're probably watching him on the video just to see how he is. This dude gets up and it's like he's practiced. He's still on killer mode. He's like, fa, 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 fa. Like he's actually making gun sounds. Listen.
Murphy, when he was arrested, you will see tattoos. You see many on his neck and chest. He has a 1200 tattoo on the back of his neck. He has the name of people from 1200 who have been murdered tattooed on his body. And in this video, you will clearly see in the evidence Mr. Davion Murphy taking full credit for his role in this shooting.
Yo, this thing has reenacted it.
That is just after his arrest, when he is left alone in an interview room. Mr. Murphy, when he was arrested, you will see tattoos. You see many on his neck and chest. He has
Now, obviously, you know, again, you could be like, oh, now I was listening to one of my favorite songs. All good. But here's the reality. It's like, bro, y'all got one nigga laughing in court. This nigga gets locked up. He's making gun sounds in the thing. Bruh, tell us y'all not guilty while telling us y'all guilty. Like, come on, bro.
A 1200 tattoo on the back of his neck. He has the name of people from 1200 who have
Yo, this is what I call crash dummies.
Been murdered tattooed on his body. And in this video, you will clearly see in the evidence Mr. Davion Murphy taking full credit for his role in this shooting.
That's insane. That's insane, man. Niggas like that play too much Call of Duty. Anyway, so that's pretty much the latest. That's pretty much the latest.